I so hope you can hear Cookie ripping stuff in the background, because that would be really entertaining as the first thing to have on this. Anyway, right. So today I'm going to do my second set on talents, because talents is one of those things that seems really straightforward, and then the more you learn about it, the more complicated it gets. And I think the first video I did on it is long enough ago now that there's lots of things I'd like to change on it. So here we are. I think the main thing is I want to try and keep it short, so I'm going to try and go relatively quickly. But please shout at me if I'm going too fast and I'm making nonsense. So the first thing is I can show off the thing I say not to do, which is don't hoard DNA like I'm doing, because it doesn't gain any value by holding on to it. There is an element of saving a little bit for, like if you've almost got a capo to the next level where you unlock a new slot and you want to save some DNA, I mean, sure, or you don't know where you want to roll, or you're happy. So I don't mean it too literally, but that's far too much. Don't do as I do, do as I say. There's lots of places you can get DNA. Funny enough, just because bounties are here, you can actually get it in bounties. Okay, let's go and even do it. There you go. Makes me feel better. That isn't the main source. The main source is from Kingpin fights in Jester. Gives a ton of DNA. The weekday events give it. You can get it in Jailbreak from the shop. So there are. You can also get it from the Mythical Shop. There's a Mythical Shop? What does they even call it? Mystery Shop, there you go. I don't have any today though, but there's loads of sources of DNA. So it isn't something that you should be overly stressed about spending, because you do get a decent income, but at the same time I'd say you want to roll for value. So let's take someone who I don't mind rolling on, and do some rolls to begin with. So the thing here, when you roll for DNA, is there's a talent vault that's maximum of 100 you can save. You can buy additional slots up to 50 for 625 diamonds. Generally speaking, I wouldn't suggest you buy any, but they do have some value on, for example, the mythical capos, just because you want to save business talent sets as well, but I wouldn't make it a priority for spending your diamonds in that way. And as you can see, I've only got 119 out of 150, so I don't even need to buy as many as I have, and even then it's still questionable. So not a priority, but don't feel guilty if you do want to buy some, because I still think it's not a terrible idea. Let's start with business talents. So I only use 2 sets of pages for business talents. One split production time and income, and the other one upgrade cost. They're a relatively standard spread, and I will cover business talents specifically another time, because there's lots of details to go in about switching them and using them in various ways. But for the purposes of, let's say, Miranda, where I'm actually going to do a roll, since she has the hustler skill, it is worth holding on to them, but I'm going against my own advice and not saving them. But for here, you can see I've got HP saved, I've got dodge taunt saved, I've got accuracy saved, I've got damage to Kingpin Nemesis, fight power, critical hit chance, although I don't think I've ever used critical hit chance. So the point I'm trying to make is it's worth saving the talents that you think might be useful if you're not currently using them, because that's how you get the best value, and that's how you end up having a load saved, because you've got, let's say the new meta tomorrow, everyone wants to run HP talents. Well, you know me, I've got HP talents saved on everyone, so I can swap whenever I like, so I don't then suddenly have a problem with going, I need to go and roll that. There is a limit to that, hence the sort of, you only got 100, so you can't save everything, but there are definitely some commonly used talents like HP, dodge, and fight power, because they're so rare and hard to roll for, that I would just save on practically every single capo. So, difference between rolling 1 times and 10 times, as far as I've done, doesn't make any difference whatsoever, so feel free to just roll 10 times. Focus is a really bad thing to do for early game players, because it just auto drops every single thing until you get your desired talent. So especially if you do a legendary fight power, it might spend all 138k or whatever I've got saved up just for that, and it might give me nothing, which means I've lost out on those aforementioned HP or dodge talents. So it is useful for endgame players because I've already got all those saved up, and therefore I just want to lazily focus and just get me there as fast as possible type thing. But even then, because I like optimizing, I still personally wouldn't do that, but I can understand its use there. So let's actually do a roll. Yes, I would like to spend some DNA. So what I'm looking for, because Miranda doesn't have any damage skills, so skill damage is useless. Damage to players in PvP and GVD is good, again, for skill damage capos as a replacement for fight power where you don't have it. Again, Miranda isn't that, so I could save them, but I haven't chosen to. Skill damage received and Kingpin damage received and PvP damage received, in my opinion, are some of the worst talents, so I don't save them on anyone. I would save that income if it were on a capo where that makes more sense, but I will save the accuracy, dodge, and critical hit chance. And the different colours, so blue, rare, purple, epic, and the gold, orange as legendary, I would say doesn't matter. Save them all. And then over time, when you get to... you also get refunds when you don't have... don't store them. Is over time, so I'll come down here and I'll count 13, because currently, at the time of this recording, 13 is how many you need. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So I've got 12 legendary dodge chance and 2 epics. So that one rare that I saved I don't actually need. So if I did another roll and I saw another rare dodge chance, I wouldn't actually save it. But over time, that means I can slowly start, as I get progressively better and better, I can just delete them off the bottom of that list. And just sort of do that when you're full, or if you can't remember, just save them anyway and then go and sort them out afterwards. So again, on this roll, I'm only saving the HP. Again, the production time I would save if it was one of the mythical capos where I'm saving the business talents. Cool. So you also get the same difference if you delete them from this menu versus not selecting them, so it doesn't make a difference there, and you get a refund based on the rarity of it, so you just get luck. It's no real skill in whether you get what you get back for it. Then talent set bonuses are quite important. Should have one set here. Here we go. So the little information box has 2 sets of information here, which is the duplicate bonus and the unlock bonus, which can be a bit misleading with the name of them. But the idea behind it is the top set is if you have all the same talents equipped, or it increases per talent that you've got equipped. So generally speaking, I'd equip an entire page of the same set. So you can see here I'm at 9.95, and if I replace and unlearn that last talent, it goes down to the 7.45. So even though I'm removing or adding one that only adds 25k, my actual score went from 1.9 to, hello cookie, to 1.3. So it added 600 million for a 25k talent. So that's why I'm saying the rarity doesn't matter as much. I would just save everything because that set bonus makes it way more important than the difference between a 44k and a 25k. Again, minus the very late game players that really want to optimize it. And the second one is the unlock bonus, which is based on the star of your capo. So because Miranda is 5 diamond stars, she gets 490. Yes, I know, Cookie. You're very cute, aren't you, bud? Yeah. He's just giving me a funny look now. Whereas if I hop over to Gianluca, who is max star, and I go over to the fight power talent page, you can see he gets the full 700. And again, he gets the full 13.75 duplicate bonus for having a full set of fight power equipped. And I won't worry about that top slot being awakened, or again, cover that another time. So that's the reason when I say you want a full page of talents, you want equip everything you can. Again, that's a good reason to focus DNA when rolling. Cookie bud. He's determined to be noisy, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Thank you, bud. Anyway, carrying on. So the exception to that rule of trying to go the same set all the way is only percentage bonuses, because as you can see here, percentage bonuses from dodge give you no duplicate bonus and no unlock bonus. So they are, you can mix and match percentage talents, which means you can do things like a split dodge and accuracy page. The exact reasons I do split dodge accuracy is, again, topic for another time. But it's just an example of where you could do, let's say, crit chance in here as well. It doesn't affect the bonuses you get because you just don't get nothing there. And that's why generally when I'm looking at arena, it always makes me a little bit sad when I see that person with like 2 HP talents and 2 fight power talents and 2 skill damage talents, because they're the amount that they give if you equip. In fact, let's just check if I've got an empty-ish page. Let's go on wheels. There you go. So you can see that 1 skill damage received is 70k, and then the whole, because of the bonus you get of him being red star, however many red stars, 5 red stars, gives you, that amount is actually 193k, but when he has 2 billion health, 193k reduction in damage is entirely irrelevant. So it's just that if you had, let's say, 2 fight power, you get basically a relevant bonus. So it's not worth trying to mix and match the ones that aren't percentages. Cool. There's lots of nuances to what you actually should run, but I'll go over the basic ideas, which is capos with damage skills want things like fight power, but as I said before, fight power is difficult to roll, so things like skill damage are worth it on them, or damage to players, because that also adds to their skill damage. And they're good substitute options, especially when you're rolling early. It's better not to just go, oh, I really like Gianluca, I'm going to focus all my DNA on Gianluca and leave everyone else for rubbish. It's better to spread that love around. Capos that buff fight power want support skill talents. So that's normally the thing for them. And for capos that don't fall into those 2 categories, generally things like dodge, HP are the ones that are worthwhile. Cool. Questions. When is a second business talent available? I don't actually remember what rank it unlocks. I feel like it's 50 or 80 or something like that. But it's a certain rank level that you get, and it unlocks more talent pages. And even though I haven't done it that long ago on Menace, I can't actually remember the exact level. For Miranda, why do you focus on increasing HP? It's there's lots of reasons to go different talents depending on whether you're in Kingpin. So actually, that's a good example. Let's do Godfather, where if we go to settings, which is the other thing I didn't cover, thankfully, is you can go into the combat talent sets and you can set different pages based on what fight you're in. So you can see here I've got a very big mixture of which ones that I'm running in here. So for Jailbreak I've set it to 3 and Kingpin I've got set 2. So if I go to set 2, it's the Damage to Kingpin Nemesis set. So it makes so you can have that set, but you don't want to use that for PvP, for example. So it allows you to not have to constantly swap talent pages around. It is limited to 3, so it's fine. There's that element to it, but most of the time 3 sets is plenty. What's the next question? For Tense, does he need full dodge if you don't use Ava? That is a very good question and needs a very long answer, so I'll cover it another time. I've heard that if you have dodge talents, roll there's a chance. Oh, right, yeah. So there's lots of theories and what I describe as myths about rolling for talents. So equip what you have, or go into a cigar fight with a certain set equipped and you get better chances or worse chances. I have done a reasonable amount of testing by now. I've done a lot of DNA rolling, and essentially none of them do any difference. I would just roll them. Fight power definitely has a smaller chance of dropping, so you just get less of them and less, like as I say, the rarity on the ones for fight power, the legendary one for Chew that I got is very bad, but for everything else you get roughly the same amount, roughly the same quality, and the answer to how to get more of them is just spend more DNA. I haven't found anything that works. I don't believe anyone who says anything works, because we did silly things like restarting the game to see if that had a better chance, and none of it seems to make any difference to the odds. Just fight power is harder to roll. That simple. Does the Damage to Kingpin Nemesis talent really make a difference? They are good as substitutes where you don't have the desired talent. That's generally true. And even the fight power isn't harder if the capo doesn't need it, I believe, is a confirmation bias, because you feel lucky when you roll it on other ones, and if it really was that different, people would just spend the 2,000 diamonds to swap capos by rolling lots on, let's say, Azumi. But I've saved all the fight power talents that I've rolled on Azumi, or let's say CMV, where I've rolled a reasonable amount, and if you look at my vault, the number of fight power talents I have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 fight power talents, but I have a full set of crit hit chance, HP, dodge chance, support skill. In fact, my support skill is almost... I've only got 2 purple. So you can see, in fact, you can see the spread. I've got 2 purple accuracy, 2 purple support skill, an almost full set of probably a little bit more purple dodge, and HP. Again, there's sort of like 4 or 5 purple that I've got equipped. So the spread is roughly equal, and I haven't taken any particular bias when saving those or rolling those. All of those sets have been rolled for equally and saved equally. I'm human, I might have missed one or two, sure, but especially for those fight power, I've certainly got a lot less of them, and CMV isn't a well-known capo for fight power and doesn't have a damage skill, so why is that any different? Is crit talent worth to keep? I mean, I'm saving crit chance, but the current meta means that they don't have much value. As I said about the damage skill reduction, the PvP and the Kingpin reduction, just in the current meta, they don't have much value. That doesn't mean that won't change in the future, but at this moment in time, I don't think I'd bother. The thing that used to be more valuable than it is currently is HP, generally. There was a lot of value in different capos running HP, but they don't run it so much anymore. It's rare. I think the only big one that uses HP is Omega and Onella. But that, again, I'm not saying that in the future it won't be useful. And in things like Jailbreak, I think I still have CMV running HP, just because Jailbreak Devil Mode was particularly brutal, and therefore having that extra HP, especially with the Awakening boosting the HP by a lot, give you an awful lot of HP so you can survive it. So there are situations like that where you're not just rolling for, I just want this talent set for PvP. You are also rolling, like for the business talents, it is still worth picking up other things for other reasons, not just PvP. So it is, again, I'll just use HP as an example, but it's worth saving HP for those sorts of uses. Same with fight power. You never know when you can end up with a full set accidentally, and maybe that's the better selection for Kingpin, but I'm not going to explicitly roll just fight power for CMV just for Kingpin. Although, since I've got so much DNA, maybe I should, but different argument for a different day. I'm now patiently waiting for typing. What else am I going to say in the meantime? So, which capos to roll on? 3 mythicals, any capos that you're focusing on because they unlock more slots and it's worth it. I haven't rolled anything for, let's say, Caesar. I've got precisely 0 talents, so I would only roll for, on my capo selection, CMV, Azumi, Chiyu, Gianluca, once they've got all their talents, and the 3 mythicals. Once they're all sorted, then I look for rolling for things like Miranda and Ava, and I haven't even bothered rolling on the other ones. I will eventually, but their talents on low capos essentially have no value, because as a sort of wheels as that example, is a few K difference on, it's a bad example, but for that one specifically, a few K difference on, if that was HP, let's say, a few K HP really isn't going to make a difference, even if it was a full talent set of 4. It would be a few million HP, which again, in the context with his gear that's equipped 2 billion health, having an extra 2 million HP really is 0 difference and not worth rolling the DNA on it. If you can't roll enough fight power, what talent would you add to fill the slots? The breakpoint for not having a full set means I probably prefer a full set of either skill damage or a full set of damage to players or a full set of damage to Kingpin instead of a half set fight power page. There is technically a breakpoint, but again, too much detail, too much finagling to get it to be perfect there. And we're coming up to 25 minutes, so I'm going to stop the video there and then continue answering questions. So hopefully I haven't missed anything important. I'm sure I will have. I'm sure I'll watch it back and feel sad. But 25 minutes is half the time of the original one, slightly better than, so hopefully that makes it more palatable for some people. And feel free to go and watch the full, long, in-depth discussion version if you're interested.